News has happened, and normally I don't do this kind of thing, but I decided this is pretty important enough, or this is big enough that we need to decide and go ahead and discuss it. So here we are talking about recent WWE releases, and I mean very recent. The list keeps growing and growing, so there's a chance that we might even see more as this episode airs live. So what we're going to do is talk about the people that WWE has just released, and we're also going to be discussing playing a sad and unfortunate game, but also talking about whether or not we think these choices were the best moves, and any other potential releases upon viewing the roster that we may consider instead. So stick around, be in the chat. Thank you for joining me, and let's go ahead and discuss everything that's happening. Oh, and just so you know, yes, there will be a video uploaded today later on tonight. That's coming out, but I chose to put that off so we can go ahead and discuss this. So again, thank you for joining me, and might as well not mince words. Let's go right into it. Okay, so the biggest news for me, at least in terms of wrestler releases or talent releases, is I'm going to start with Mike Chioda. Referee Mike Chioda has just been announced that he has been released from his WWE contract. Now, what makes this significant is that he is the longest reigning, if I am not mistaken, the longest reigning WWE referee of all time. Out of every referee that the company's ever employed, he was the one. He was, if I'm not mistaken, he was senior official for a period of time. And for those of you who are heavily involved in the pro wrestling industry, know that the senior official job, even if he is not the official senior official, if he is just a veteran referee, that offers a lot in terms of wrestling. It shows the guys how things are done. Being a referee is an often overlooked job. And certainly for me, Mike Chioda was a major part of my childhood and wrestling experiences. So I am it's very unfortunate, and I'm very upset to see Mike Chioda go. Especially since I'm a big fan of his. Alright, so moving on next. Other official releases we have. These are some of the brand new ones. Primo and Epico, the colognes, have been released by WWE. Now, this one is not much of a shock to me, as the tag team hasn't been utilized all that well, and they're barely featured on television. To be honest, I'm surprised they didn't let them go sooner. For those of you who are in the know, both of them are related to the great Carlos Colon, wrestling legend, and are also related to Carlitos. So they do have a wrestling legacy. I do think there are other opportunities for them going in the future. CAWF Network TV talks. Losses AEW's game. Okay, getting into the chat real quick. Who got released? The Revival I know of. Just to catch you guys up, referee Mike Chioda has been released by WWE. It's been reported that veteran referee, the longest reigning referee in WWE history, from my understanding, has been officially released by WWE. We're just talking about, we were just talking about the Revival. Not the Revival, but another tag team, the Colognes, Epico and Primo, have also been released by WWE as well. Alright, so moving on the list. And again, this news is breaking as it happens, so for all I know, we're going to get more releases as this goes on. So the next person on the list going to discuss is, sadly, Eric Rowan, former member of the Wyatt family. Luke Harper, as we know, is now currently in AEW. As Brody Lee. So the other member of the Wyatt family, his cohort, Eric Rowan, or just Rowan, has been released. Now, the last time we saw him, he was involved in that storyline angle where he had a fake spider in a cage that Drew McIntyre disposed of, and now he is gone. Now, WWE has never really found the footing in order to use him properly, in my opinion. They found a few angles which I think kind of worked for him. He did get a recent push by defeating Roman Reigns. So there was some promise there. So this does come as a bit of surprise, seeing that I thought they were going to do more with him, but evidently they decided just to cut him and not keep him around with the company. So just surprising that so now we have one Shield member gone and two Wyatt family members gone. So it's just strange how times has changed. All right, so another recent another disappointing release just been announced. Sarah Logan. Sarah Logan is no longer with the company, which I also thought she had a lot of potential too, and we saw her in Elimination Chamber recently, and she did okay in there. She was getting a lot more attention. While she was not ever really utilized well, Sarah Logan has been, of course, seemingly like one of the people they could rely on during these times, but evidently not. Evidently, they decided to move on in other ways. Let's go back into the chat. Dale says, hello to everyone. Surprised they release a lot of people. Actually, I am not surprised, so we're going to take a quick time out here. So, personally, I am not all that surprised by these releases. As we have been mentioning, with the current situation, WWE's revenue is extremely limited. Not to mention also what happened with the XFL, and as reports are claiming, WWE was significantly tied with having a percentage of the XFL. So the XFL going bankrupt did also affect WWE, according to some reports. Furthermore than that, even if that's not the case, with a lack of live attendance, with all the money they lost in WrestleMania, all the money they were not receiving by having audience members, that is a huge financial cut. Now, yes, the company is worth billions of dollars, but at least it was. However, the problem with this comes is that you have X amount of wrestlers and you have X amount of talent and employees that you have to pay, and you're paying for them. You need to cut corners. You need to cut costs. Talent is usually the most expensive part of your budget, so that's normally the first things to go, because WWE was presumably saving money on things like travel, saving by just going to the performance center and sets and stuff like that. But still, this is something that has happened. So yes, hello Dale. So let's go back here. Winter Soldier says, was this arbitrary? Probably not. WWE does want to lower the value of these stars by reason. Okay, so you're right. The XFL losing money was bad. Yeah. So shouldn't they just shut down for now? According to their other deal, now we'll get to that later. We'll discuss this a little bit later on. We'll discuss whether or not they should, Terry James. That's another thing. But let's go back into the list. And again, might be changing things at the moment, so let's just go ahead and continue with this. Now, another disheartening release, which I actually am very surprised about, is Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, the former Good Brothers, members of The Club, or The Only Club That Matters. Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows have officially been released. Comes surprising seeing the fact that we just saw them at WrestleMania in the Boner match with AJ Styles, and they're a part of that affiliation with AJ Styles. Now, the only thing I can understand about this is perhaps we're going to have a bit of a break before we see AJ again, and upon his return, maybe he's going to be repackaged as a babyface, so perhaps his two cohorts weren't exactly necessary. So the idea here is that whatever is going to be the case, I think perhaps their reasoning behind this was that AJ's ready to move on to the next chapter, so they're no longer released by this. Also, in the past, they have been frustrated. Reports have stated that they wanted to be released, and rumors have also speculated that they were going to be going back to New Japan or possibly AEW. Either way, seeing that they were featured somewhat recently in WrestleMania and all that, I didn't think they would have let them go, but that really took things for a surprise. Ty Marshall says Gallows and Anderson might go back to New Japan or it might go to AEW. Yeah, exactly as I just said. What do you think the chances of WWE welcoming them back after all this? There is a chance, but that's assuming they don't find work elsewhere. However, with the current wrestling scene, certain promotions saying they will not be running, and other promotions having limited range on how much, because again, just because they're available doesn't mean that other companies, even if they are still currently running, doesn't mean that they have the capital to afford to hire anybody else, because they might be running on a limited staff. So don't think that just because they're released from WWE means you're going to get to see them in other promotions, because that they have to be, other promotions need to be running shows in order for you to see them there, and they also have to have the money to justify it. Yes, okay, all right, easy, slow. Okay, so we're going on next. Since it was already mentioned, Kurt Angle, that's right, WWE has officially released Kurt Angle. Not surprising, since after his retirement, they really haven't done anything with him. Kurt Angle was there to have his last run with WWE, which has been fulfilled, so it seems like Kurt Angle was released. I do suspect that once this is all said and done, Kurt Angle could very well return to the company in some capacity. Probably not a wrestling one, but in some capacity they might be using him, or on a Legends deal and just having him make occasional appearances. Kurt Angle, huge Kurt Angle fan, disappointed that I won't be seeing him anytime soon on WWE program, but at the same time, I understand this one. They weren't making use of him. They were keeping things. They were keeping things. They were keeping him at bay as they have to do after his retirement. So, what else are you gonna do? So let's see. We'll get into who's next, who could be next. We'll be discussing your choices later on, but let's continue with the list. All right, another one. Drake Maverick. Drake Maverick, the former rock star Spud. He was recently getting involved in a little bit of action, wrestling a little bit. So it is somewhat surprising that he, after not really wrestling, other than occasional goofy matches with that silly title that R-Truth has, or last I checked, I have no idea if he has it or not, but Drake Maverick seemed like they might have been getting better use out of him, seeing that if you were going to keep talent, maybe use them instead of just keeping them aside. And that reminds me, let's also discuss that WWE has had a WWE recently has been hoarding talent, not utilizing them, but just making sure they can't go anywhere else, just to make sure that they don't feed their competition. A business strategy that some say is a good idea and other people highly disagreed on. Allegedly, some WWE executives and shareholders were not a fan of this practice. But anyway, with this being said, Drake Maverick was utilized more as a GM capacity, more as an authority figure capacity for 205 Live. But he recently returned to the ring and yet today released by WWE. So again, one of several moves that are surprising. All right, we're going to get on to it. EC3. Since you guys are chomping at the bit to get these on out, let's start moving along. EC3. Now, EC3, Ethan Carter III, made it to prominence in TNA. Originally started as Derek Bateman in WWE, then brought back to WWE, and some actually thought this was going to be the start of something big. They brought him into NXT. Wasn't utilized all that much in NXT. Was featured, but wasn't a top guy. But surprisingly, they moved him to the main roster, and did really nothing with him. His most noteworthy match would probably be against Dean Ambrose, the current Jon Moxley, before he left. But other than that, EC3 really never got a lot of play upon his return to WWE, which to some people, much to their dismay. But I personally am not surprised by this one. I kind of figured they'd be releasing him, and he seemed like an obvious one. However, Winter Soldier is surprised. Okay, so let's go down the list. Heath Slater is next. Now, Heath Slater, it has been also reported that Heath Slater is actually surprised, even though you have not seen him very much. A lot of people were shocked to find out that, according to some sources, he made upwards to $250,000 a year. $100,000. So even though he wasn't featured all that well, he was apparently one of the better paid wrestlers, which is one of the reasons why he didn't mind sticking around, even though he wasn't being used, just to be paid. So, I apologize. I'm talking about Kurt Hawkins. Did I say Heath Slater? I apologize. Heath Slater, I don't know how much money he makes. He made... Apologies. Kurt Hawkins, I believe. Was $250,000 a year. Sorry about that. Got ahead of myself. But on that note, also Heath Slater as well was also released too. So when these wrestlers, and also, while I don't know how much Heath Slater got paid off the top of my head, or have no reports specifically, I do believe that Heath Slater was also paid pretty well in addition. So these two wrestlers, while you may not have seen much of them, their releases don't come as a surprise because they weren't being utilized, and again, they cost, from my understanding, a hefty amount of money. They were being paid quite well. Not saying anything more than that, or specific amounts. Not saying that I know these for facts. Just things that I have heard. Okay. So moving on. This one is another one that you probably saw coming. Eric Young. Eric Young, major player in TNA, part of the group Sanity when he went to WWE. Some thought that Eric Young was going to make it to the big time, but considering that fact that he's a little bit older of a talent, some were not surprised that they weren't using him, as WWE tends to really push guys who are a little bit younger when they enter. Now, of course, there are older talent that does get pushed, but when you're coming from another company like TNA, Eric Young, he didn't have a lot of the didn't have a lot of the features that WWE tend to push. But in addition to that, his group Sanity, surprisingly, shockingly, got a lot of people happy. A lot of people were very pleased with that group and thought there were going to be good things for him. And then when they got brought up to the main roster, really, no memory of Sanity has really done all that well so far. Yes, Eric Young, he still is a good wrestler, Cody Omega. So Eric Young has been released, where he broke down. So yeah, apparently. Okay, going back to the chant, apparently to Aka's channel, Drake Maverick dropped a video where he broke into tears talking about today. Well, that's very unfortunate to hear. All right, next one. Last on my current list of wrestlers, we have Lio Rush. Now, Lio Rush got himself into some hot water a little while back. He recently said that he would like to reunite with Bobby Lashley on television. Apparently, that is not going to be happening since Lio Rush has been released. He recently won the Cruiserweight Championship, which was seemingly like they were going to start helping him out or getting him or start doing him a little bit better. You might remember that he got himself into a little bit of trouble when he tweeted, apparently you weren't ready for Asuka, to a recently released Emma, to Neil Dashwood. So it would appear that I'm interested to hear what Tenille Dashwood has to say about this now. Drake Maverick got... so yeah, I hope Drake Maverick's okay, but Lio Rush... some people also think that Lio Rush was punished unfairly for this. He did have a fairly decent role, even things despite that. So, in any case, Lio Rush is released. Now, personally speaking, I don't... and I know a lot of people found Lio Rush annoying. I actually didn't mind Lio Rush. Not shocked to see him gone, but at the same time, this is one of those things where even if you're not making waves recently, sometimes a company will release you if you had a history of causing problems. They can unsurprisingly never forget. They might forgive, but they might never forget. And when they got the when they have to make the hard cuts, it's not shocking when they look at you for it. All right, so let's go back onto the list. Now, in terms of producers, I'm going to rattle these off. We do have a lot of producers, and even though you might think to yourself, I don't really know producers in wrestling, these names are going to be familiar for some of you. So, backstage producers, as I already mentioned, Kurt Angle. But in addition to that, Billy Kidman, backstage producer, Mike Rotunda, the former IRS, Pat Buck, Fit Finley, Sean Daivari, Scott Armstrong of the Armstrong family, Sarah Stock, Shane Helms, the Hurricane Shane Helms, and Lance Storm, all been released by WWE. Unfortunately, producers, while a lot of them are talents you recognize from the past, and they do contribute a lot, these producers being fired has several meanings to it. Number one, a lot of them are road producers working in different parts of the show when you travel. With WWE not traveling so much right now, their usefulness to the company at this immediate moment might have been seen as something that wasn't necessary, so they decided to release them. The other downside to this, though, is that not only are all these people unfortunately without a job right now, but in addition to it, you can also make the argument that they are great for rounding out the experience. Being former workers, knowing what the job is like, knowing what it's like to wrestle, they are the ones who are able to hand on their veteran experience, especially when we have wrestlers who are very talented in the ring, like Lance Storm, like Finn Finley, and so on, and everyone else I mentioned. I'm not trying to exclude anybody, but when we look at all what they have to give, it is an improper environment. So when we're losing veterans of this game, like Kurt Angle, from passing on their information to the current roster, we may see some discernible loss, or there's a lack of locker room leadership there. True Sinister, as I said earlier, we have to remember that this requires other companies still running new programming before we can guarantee they show up, number one. And number two, we also have to remember other companies are feeling the pinch too. They may not have the working capital in order to hire these people. So just because, excuse me one moment, just because they are available does not mean that they are necessarily going anywhere. But when it comes to certain companies still running, yeah, they do have a distinct advantage that they might be able to hire them as opposed to other companies that are no longer running shows. Dale, I do not have that information off the top of my head, but I do have a lot. But Billy Kidman has definitely been there for a long time. Yeah, WWE has not been, as a report earlier, WWE has not been releasing a lot. They've been hoarding talent. They've been trying to keep things down. But yet, one more name to add to this list, because there is one announcer, he has been doing some commentary, and that is Aiden English. Aiden English is to have been released and is no longer with WWE. So no longer with WWE, we have Aiden English. Last time he was featured as a talent in prominence was during the Rusev Day angle, as being Rusev's tag team partner in the tag team known as Rusev Day. So, yet breaking news, Harry Flynn did report 2 more wrestlers have been added to this, 2 more talents. Mike and Maria Kanellis are no longer with WWE. Mike Kanellis has been very adamant about wanting to be released from the company, and his wife Maria has been said by some as the primary goal of keeping her, but alas, it doesn't seem to be the case, especially seeing the fact that she is pregnant. Not really the best environment for a pregnant woman to be around, leaving the house or being around in professional wrestling. So Mike and Maria Kanellis, despite being used as part of a very odd angle that was the weird infidelity angle that they had a little bit earlier, during the Paul Heyman's first rise to getting a little bit of creative control over Raw, have not been utilized very much since, and now they are no longer with WWE. So Mike and Maria Kanellis, no longer with the company. All right, and as of now, as again, you never know, by the end of this broadcast, we might get more releases. I'll keep checking, but WWE has released those, so we might get some more. Who knows? But yes, Winter Soldier, you are surprised. Hey, Ben Espinoza. Winter Soldier, you are very well surprised by a lot of these, which I have to say I am not surprised. So let's look at the list. We'll talk about some of these names. Who you, if there anybody that you would not have gotten rid of. But we are going to look at the current WWE roster, or at least the most updated roster I have. We're going to focus on the wrestler side of things more. We're going to discuss whether or not each of these wrestlers we think we should be coming or going. So we're going to break down the list and say what we would do. Now, the idea behind this is, now, I'm not trying to revel in anybody's hardships, because being in a similar situation myself when it comes to work, I have to understand. I do sympathize with them. Absolutely do. I do hope, at least for some of these guys, it's going to be the start of something good, and perhaps this will lead to better opportunity. So I am hoping for that for all of them. Not to say the cliche, but best of luck in all their future endeavors. Now, we're going to look at the roster. Now, we're going to discuss several things. We're going to discuss money. Now, we don't have hard numbers on what these wrestlers are making, but there are some reports that we can go by, some rumor and innuendo that we can speculate on. And in addition to that, we also have to talk about how well they're used, not whether or not you like them. This is not about, so playing this game for going forward, when we're talking about the rest of the roster, we're not going to be talking about whether we like them, whether or not we want to keep them or not. It's about, what's the logical thing if you were WWE? If you were WWE, what would you do? Now, yes, some of these wrestlers you can't just utilize better and say, I'm going to keep them, but utilize them better. Oh, no. Okay, but, all right. And the hits just keep on coming. Apparently, to Zachary Sipes, Zack Ryder has just been released by WWC. It keeps on going. Yeah, we will miss Mike Chioda. Don't worry. I hope he lands on his feet and can't wait to see him again. All right. So Zack Ryder. Again, it's not someone I'm surprised to see them let go. I think that could be for the best if he can find his placement elsewhere. I remember reading a report, if I'm not mistaken, that Cody Rhodes actually thinks he is one of the most underutilized talents that he would like to work with himself. So perhaps we could see him in AEW if they have the capacity. I don't know what is going on here, but okay, so hopefully I stick with you. Looks like I'm having a bit of a thing right now, but everything seems to be okay. All right, especially because WWE is given the impression of the philosophy of hoarding talents. That's right, but I can understand the offensive line. So let's move on. And yeah, we already talked about that gaming. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at let's keep going with this, and let's see if we can focus on the current WWE roster, and we'll discuss from a strategic business point of view. Again, not by who you like, not who you want to keep, but realistically, let's look at who they've been utilizing, who they haven't, reports on how much they cost, and whether or not we think they should stick around. So let's start off with their champions, Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre. Now, obviously, I'm going to be checking back and forth to see if there have been any updates, but obviously, Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre, both their champions. I think we're going to keep both of them. I think it goes without saying that neither one of them should be or are going to be fired anytime soon. As you know, I'm a fan of both of theirs, so I think this is a no-brainer. We're going to keep both of them. Next, let's move on to the women's champions, Becky Lynch and Bayley. Now, of course, both of them are also, obviously, I think we're going to keep them. Now, I'm getting this directly off of WWE.com, by the way, and we're only going to be focusing on wrestlers, not so much backstage producers. Next, Sami Zayn and Andrade, the Intercontinental and the United States champion, respectively. In addition to everyone else, we're going to keep them. And it says things with the tag team champions, the Street Profits, Miz and Morrison, Alexa Bliss, and Nikki Cross. All of which, of course, I'm keeping as well. What do you guys think on this one? I think it just goes for common sense. Who do you think, which wrestlers will go where and why? We'll try to get back to that a little bit later. And again, I'm not sure anyone's going anywhere. My personal thinking, we'll just, you know what, we'll discuss about this right now. In my personal opinion, I don't know, and I'm not sure, and I'm not even that positive that they are going anywhere, because who's running shows at this point? Yeah, AEW's still going, but are AEW going to pay for all these guys just to come on in? Do you think they're going that with the current climate, knowing how much money they have? Oh no, excuse me. Hope that makes things a little bit better. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. We'll continue. Okay. So what's going? Is going through WWE? You said FPW Wrestling. It's fairly intuitive. They're not making as much revenue. They don't have a live gate. That's a lot of money. They're not doing house shows, and the shows they are running do not have a live audience. That is a lack of a lot of money. They have to cut funds. It's just common sense. It's how things work. Oh, okay. Zachary is reporting that No Way Jose also just been released. The hits keep on coming. So, yeah, apparently Leo Rush and Kurt Angle have released statements. So, again, best of luck to all these guys. It's unfortunate that this is happening, but right now, hopefully they can land on their feet somehow. What do you think is next? Well, we'll be talking about that. We're going down the roster, talking about who we think could be next and who we think should be next. All right. Well, my first cut is right here. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. R-Truth does not have the championship right now. This champion is definitely the first one I'm getting rid of. Rob Gronkowski. I don't think he contributes anything. I'm sorry. He's a celebrity. I don't know what they're paying him, but I do not think he's a necessary component. And because WWE tends to, when they hire celebrities, pay him a little bit more than a lot of wrestlers, he might not be. But I wouldn't be surprised if he is. So Gronkowski, there might have been reports about how much he's getting paid, but either way, I would definitely release him if I was WWE. Yes, I'm aware that he's holding a title, but I don't think he contributes a lot. And while I know I'm saying that it's not about who you like or you don't like, and it's also just a strategic move, or what value do you get out of this? Let's go on with this list. Triple H, nice try, but that's not going to happen. Realistically, it's not going to happen. Yeah, No Way Jose. We saw him recently. Okay, so let's not forget about our NXT champions, Adam Cole and Charlotte Flair. Of course, I'm holding on to both of them, as well as the North American champion, Keith Lee. Jordan Devlin, he is technically the NXT Cruiserweight champion, but they will be having a tournament for an interim champion because of visa issues. But either way, Jordan Devlin, I would keep on the roster, even though technically he's only the champion until this interim champion tournament is done. And similar thinking with the next the Broserweights, Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle, the NXT champions. Which Pete Dunne visa issues the same thing, but either way, I'm keeping both of them. All right, now NXT UK, we have Walter, Kaylee Ray, and Gallus. All of which, yeah, same thing. Keeping them as well. Okay, so now moving on. Under current wrestlers, let's just check in with the chat real quick. AJ Styles with a question mark. What about AJ Styles? Okay, so we'll get there, 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 we'll get there. All right, so let's move on to the roster. So first up to bat, AJ Styles. Now, AJ Styles, obviously, I'm keeping him. There's no questions asked. He doesn't have a lot of time left on his current wrestling contract, and this is allegedly the last wrestling contract he is ever going to sign. So when it comes to AJ Styles, as a performer, as a talent, let him continue his career. I still expect, even though what we saw from him in The Undertaker, I don't expect this is the last we saw of AJ. I think there's plenty more to go, and I would not even be surprised if they have some major plans for the Phenomenal One going forward. So AJ Styles, safe by me. Next up, Akira Tozawa. Now, this is going to pay me to say this because he actually is a tremendous talent, but personally, I would release him. Akira Tozawa, especially, and let's just cut this, let's just get this out the way. I would really consider dissolving 205 Live at this point. I don't know how much of a value 205 Live in general has. So, I would, I personally would be looking to get rid of Akira Tozawa. Even though I like him a lot, I wouldn't say he's been the best utilized right now. Give me a second, let me adjust the lighting for a second. Alright. Why are you guys just naming people? Hold on. Okay. Also, now we have Akam and Razor, the authors of Pain. What do you guys think? Should Akam and Razor be kept? No, that deal, Rowan was one of the first wrestlers I mentioned. Yeah, guys, it gets confusing when you just shout out names. I don't know if you're telling me that they've been released or if you're telling me you want them to release. Don't just say names of wrestlers. Okay, this gets pretty confusing pretty fast. So, yeah, don't just shout out names of guys. Man, you guys are really all about this Titus O'Neil. Okay, so let's go back into it. So, Akam and Razor, because of their stable with Seth, even though they haven't been utilizing them all that much and they are injury prone, you can make the argument that they're going somewhere with them. However, because they keep getting pulled for injury, you might have to let them. You might not necessarily need them, especially since they're a tag team. If one gets injured, you can't use both. You take both of them out of the equation unless you want to push one as a solo star. Now, at first, I was not a fan of theirs. I will be perfectly honest with that. I wasn't the biggest fan of their work. However, they have grown on me, and they have shown that they can be used well. However, with that being said, personally, I would be releasing them as well. So, if it was up to me, I would say the Authors of Pain would be released. As hard as to say. All right, next up, Aleister Black. Now, Aleister Black, a lot of promise, big fan base, and a lot of people are looking forward to him having bigger matches and bigger exchanges in the future. So, Aleister Black, by my reasoning, I would keep him on the roster. However, I can't say the same about the next person I'm going to mention on this list. Alexander Wolf. Alexander Wolf really hasn't done a lot with him. And again, this isn't a personal thing. I like his talent. I really like the group Sanity, but they haven't been using them. They haven't been using them very well. And in terms of whether or not you are going to be, how much is your company losing out by releasing them? I would say Alexander Wolf. I would let him go. All right, we'll get to those, Zachary. Take your time. Okay. All right, next up, Alicia Taylor. Now, I was not aware of Alicia Taylor, so being with the company. So, yes, Alicia Taylor, I would also release. Next up, Aaliyah. What do you guys think about Aaliyah? Should she stay? Should she go? Let's find out what you guys think on this one. WWE releases 2 more superstars. Okay, Zach Brown, no way to say. Okay, good. Well, not good, but we already reported that. All right, so no news there on this one. Okay, stay. Winter Soldier would like Aaliyah to stay. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to say this right now. Okay, I'm just going to get these next 2 names. Both Aaliyah and Amir Jordan, I would let them go. Now, one of the factors that I'm thinking of is that, unfortunately, though, we have to remember that you can't just get rid of newer talent, because you need somebody. You can't put all your eggs in one basket, as we saw from Roman Reigns. When you push one person, or you only push a small handful, you kind of have no one to fill that void. So you do need younger, fresher talent to move onto the list. And this isn't personal. I'm just looking at it from the way WWE is using them. Some of these are going to surprise you, because these are wrestlers that I like, and if I was in charge, I wouldn't personally release them. I would use them better. But WWE, I'm looking from what they are going to do, and I'm trying to make my best guess as if I was WWE, what would happen. So, Aaliyah and Amir Jordan. Now, I think these guys might be safe, but these two, if I were WWE, thinking the way WWE does, I would let them go. All right, next up, Angel Garza. Now, Angel Garza is an interesting one because he has recently grown to some prominence. He's been featured a lot more. If this was last month, I probably wouldn't count on him or 2 months ago, I probably wouldn't count on him sticking around. But because they're utilizing, as I said about new young talent that push, Angel Garza I would keep on staff. That's just me. And again, please make sure you tell me what you guys think. Next up, Apollo Crews. We've been seeing him. Now, Apollo Crews is an interesting one because we've seen him recently getting a little more airtime than he's normally been, and they are going in a certain direction with his character. So it does seem like they're going somewhere with him. Angel Garza, say, okay. Next, we'll get to that, Jesus. We'll get to that. Okay, guys, easy. We're going down the list here. So Apollo Crews, tremendous talent. I would keep him. Next up, Arya Davari and Arturo Ruas, as well as Ashton Smith. Got stuck in alliteration. So these three talents, also, hate to say it, cutting all three of them. All right, here's an interesting one because news reported today is that Vince McMahon is actually pretty high on her. So the next name up for the chopping block is Asuka. I would keep Asuka, of course. She seems to be happy in WWE, and if the chairman is looking to utilize her more, I say definitely keep Asuka. All right, now Dale says he would let Apollo Crews go, but the only problem with that would be he would be better used in other companies. I don't see that as a problem. Again, the Vince McMahon strategy of hoarding talents and making sure they can't go anywhere else is while it is a Vince play, and there is a method behind it, there were a lot of companies, and I know we're playing this game as what WWE would do. Unfortunately, though, I got to point out that there were a lot of people in WWE itself who didn't think it was a good idea. So while we are playing this from the WWE mindset, we're not necessarily just sticking from a Vince mindset. Being utilized better in other companies, it's not something I'm worried about as much as I think we need to talk about current value. What do you get at? What do you pay? How much money can you save by releasing them, and how much money and how much do you get out of them? And if one is higher than the other, that's how you make your decision. You see which level is higher. All right, so back to the list. All right, here's an interesting one. Austin Theory. What do you guys think? Austin Theory. Let him stay, let him go. What do you guys think? Justin Lewis, we will get to those names. Wait, let me run down the roster. Hold on. Austin Theory, stay. Christie says cut. Now, I actually want to keep him too. Same thing. I'm keeping the mindset of where is the future of these guys. He's just got there. Granted, he hasn't made the biggest impact now that he's on the main roster, but at the same time, I am willing to remember that we need to have newer talent as time goes on. It's also thinking about the next year, and we should also be looking at the next couple of years. So in that case, while I am cutting some fresher talent, there are some that I think we should keep, and Austin Theory is one of them. Next up, Bianca Belair. Where do we stand on Bianca Belair? To me, this is a very easy one. I would keep Bianca Belair. Okay, Christie does bring up an interesting point. He does bring up the point that some people might say that if we keep Austin Theory around, is there any guarantee he's not going to be one of a lot of wrestlers that are just, some would say, bland? There is a chance he runs that risk. But people said that about Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan ends up being one of the biggest draws they ever had, so you never know. I'm not saying that Austin Theory will be the next Daniel Bryan, but I'm just pointing that out. But for now, I'm still deciding to keep him. But yes, Bianca Belair, I also agree to keep Bianca Belair as well. The next two names, surprising. I'm actually surprised by a word thing. I'm going to name the next two people. I'm keeping both of them, and that's the. Wait, actually, no, I'm not. One of these wrestlers I am keeping, and that is Big E. Big E Langston, Big E, a member of the New Day, big fan of his. Still want him to get a solo push. I think he could be a main event player. So Big E Langston, I'm definitely keeping. Imagine if they release Roman Reigns from Dojo. Yeah, imagine that. Guys, stop naming these. Yeah, just stop naming guys. Stop naming guys. We will get down to the roster. You make this difficult because when you just screen guys out, I don't know if you're saying they've been released or if you're talking about whether they want to be released or not. Just wait. The next name I'm going to give out, The Big Show. I understand they're promoting his current show right now, his Netflix show that's going to be coming out, but I know I believe he is not inexpensive. I believe he does cost the company a pretty penny, and rightfully so. We saw him very recently get defeated by Drew McIntyre, but outside of that, what purpose does he serve? How much are they going to utilize him? And at his age, even though he still moves great, I do think that once this is all said and done, perhaps then talk about bringing him back. But if you're just trying to clear capital right now, I would let him go. Reduce legend contract into Hall of Fame, then let him go. Wow, that's mean. Well, Hall of Fame, who knows if that's going to happen. That deal, we were talking about being realistic, not what's actually going. We're talking about realistic, not what you want to happen. Try to remove personal feelings out of this as much as you can, and just go by simple math and business savvy as best as you can. Good run, yeah. See, Cody Omega, why did you just say Zack Ryder? There was no point to you saying that. What are you doing to me? All right, next up, Billy Kay and Bo Dallas. Both of them, I'm releasing. Yeah, so look, they have not been utilized. Now, I know there are reasons for it, but Peyton Royce and Billy Kay, they have not been using really at all. And it's unfortunate because they could have done so much more with them. I also think they could have been better utilized in NXT. But Billy Kay right now, I would release. Same goes for Bo Dallas. We haven't seen Bo Dallas in a while. Bo Dallas, despite being a tremendous talent in my opinion, Bo Dallas hasn't been utilized all that well. I'm putting him on the chopping block. Next up, Boa. I really have no idea who this is. So yeah, I'm releasing him. Objective. Trying to be as objective as I can. Yeah, I know. Look, I like Bo Dallas. It has nothing to do with whether or not you like the guy. It just has to do Bo. Yeah, I have no idea who Bo is. I assume he's on 205 Live. Bo was on NXT for a while. Okay, well, I completely forgot about him. Breaking news, Mickie James, Ember Moon just got released. Okay, that hurts. Okay, so, excuse me. Legend Unknown has mentioned that Mickie James and Ember Moon has been released. Now, okay, Mickie James I definitely understand. Ember Moon is a real shame because I really like Ember Moon a lot, and I really wish that I really wish more of them could happen. So I have no idea who Boa is. Okay, all right. So following this, Bobby. So unfortunately, Ember Moon released, and Mickie James, unfortunate as well, but I do understand it. Next, Bobby Fish. One thing to point out, though, unfortunate part about Mickie James is that as a veteran of the women's division for WWE, it's also a shame, as I mentioned about the backstage producers, when you have a talent who's been around for a while, their ability to help newer talent, younger talent, that is a very crucial part. While it is unfortunate, Mickie James, and I do understand that they're releasing her, I will say it is a bit problematic because who else has the credentials that she has? Who else has been with the company as long as she? Who has been around from that era that could help the newer generation for the women's division? Who else do they have there? So I do understand it, but I do think that is one crucial part that is an unfortunate side effect of what they have is that the women's division no longer has that veteran. All right, next up, Bobby Fish. What was striking me earlier was that Biggie and Big Show, they are the only two wrestlers that have Big in their name. When meanwhile WWE has a habit of having, a lot of guys with the first name of Big. Anyway, Bobby Fish, part of the Undisputed Era. What do you guys think? You really got Natalia. That's true. We only have Natalia, and Mickey James has time on her as well. Like, she's not the only well, Natalia has been, Natalia's been around, not as long as Mickey though. So Natalia has now become the seasoned vet. But then again, as we saw from Mike Chioda, time with the company doesn't apparently mean that much. Bobby Fish, yeah, because he's on Undisputed Era, I'm keeping him. If it wasn't for that, I'd probably let him go. But because he's part of Undisputed Era, I would keep him. Next up, Bobby Lashley. Yeah, PIF show, yes, agreed. Minorities, Undisputed Era is a crucial part of NXT, and that's why I'm keeping him. If it wasn't for that, I probably would have let him go. Okay, so I understand the drawbacks of Fish, but his role is more versatile. Like I said, I'm keeping him. Bobby Lashley, I'm releasing. Bobby Lashley is, from my understanding, not cheap. That's really what it comes down to. He pulled in some numbers for a brief period of time with the Lana Rusev angle. We clearly know that's done. And people point out that it drew. Let's not forget that it didn't always. There were periods of time where it didn't do that well. That storyline has come and gone. And before that storyline, what were they doing with Bobby Lashley? They're not paying off his feud with Brock that people want to see. They're not utilizing him for anything else. And what are they doing with him now? Bobby Lashley, if he costs less, that'd be one thing. And he's got a good look to him. But really, I mean, where they're not going to do Brock. Let's just be real here. They're not going to give you Brock. And we're going to talk about that momentarily too. But they're not going to give you Brock. Where else can you do with Bobby Lashley? I think you've gotten all you can out of him. I say you let him go. Jimmy Cow. Wait till we get there. Yeah, you know what? And Rashawn does bring up an interesting point, how he says Bobby Lashley needs someone to talk to him. So even though you have Lana on contract, and we'll get to her later, even though you have her on contract, realize that that's something else. Not only are you expensive, but if you need somebody to talk for you, that means you require multiple people on payroll. So by keeping this one person, if you're going to utilize them at the best, that means you also have to keep another person on payroll just to talk to them. It's not necessarily the most efficient use of your money if you have to hire two people to do the job that maybe one wrestler could do. So that is something there. So he's got experience for the younger talents. Not really. Experience is not something the men's division is lacking right now. I should go back. The rest of who knows? Okay. Next, we're just going to go to it. Brock Lesnar. Okay, so Brock Lesnar. So Brock Lesnar, no surprise here, I'm releasing him. Now, yeah, I'm trying to remove personal bias, but again, I've got to talk about this. So let's just read some of the comments. AJ Envoy says, AJ Envoy says that releasing Brock is bad for business because that's a pickup for a company like AEW. Fans got to think. Again, as we've looked at for the past 6 years of Brock's reign of terror, and even on the WWE roster right now I know they're not going to get rid of him, but if I was the outside panel, I'm going to be making sure I make this very clear that Brock Lesnar needs to be released in terms of just pure common sense. Now, AEW is not going to be able to afford Brock Lesnar at this juncture. Maybe they could have last year. But what makes you think that AEW is going to be spending the money to get Brock Lesnar right now, with no attendance live, and they're still a startup company, and they're not pulling television ratings like WWE is, okay? What makes you think, like, even though Raw took a severe hit this week, one of the lowest ratings they've ever gotten, they still did better than NXT, than AEW. NXT and AEW. They still did better than AEW. And if you want to get technical about it, last week, NXT won too. So AEW is out of all the major company wrestling shows, SmackDown, Raw, NXT, and AEW, Dynamite is at the lowest end right for this past week. Not historically, and I'm not trying to say that it's going to happen again today, but AEW They don't have live attendance. They're not pulling in massive ratings. The idea that they would spend that much money, and if I'm not mistaken, the last time I heard a report, I believe it to be Brock Lesnar cost $9.1 million to WWE a year. And I've pointed this out over and over again. He is not a major merch seller. I read a report for last year's top merch sellers. If I am remembering correctly, he wasn't even on the top 20. Not even the top 20. That is a guy that dominates your world title scene, and he can't even be in the top 20 in terms of merchandise sales. You don't get revenue from merchandise sales. He costs you more than any other wrestler by a long shot. More than John Cena. And John Cena brings in merchandise money. And let's also remember, he just lost to Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. His whole storyline for the year has been wrapped up. Do you need him in, let's even say, in the next couple of months? Let's really focus on just the next couple of months while this is all going on. Next couple of months, you're not bringing as much money. You're not getting live attendance sales. There's nothing, if they are really set on keeping Brock around, they can bring him back in 3 months when whenever this is over, and then do what they always do with him and just have him win a title. But over the next couple of months, he is not useful to you at all. He costs way too much money to not be used for the next 3 months. You could just take him off, and get him right back. You don't have to worry about AEW scooping him. And even if AEW does scoop him, as I said, he doesn't really bring much to the party. I cannot stress that enough. Well, you got to think about it. Like, there are people who are just obsessed with this idea of Brock Lesnar. I get that he has good look. I just don't see it since... Yeah, no, I don't think they're going to do it. I just think they should do it. But, yeah, Lesnar brings very little to the table and costs you a lot. And just to put things in perspective, if my earlier understanding of what Kurt Hawkins' salary was of $250,000, if that is so, remember, you would have to $250,000, and if I'm remembering correctly, and Brock Lesnar is 9.1, remember that is a huge gap. Okay, it's a huge gap. 9.1 versus 250,000. If they fired Kurt Hawkins, which they did, you would have to fire Kurt Hawkins over 36 times to try and get to one Brock Lesnar. You clear up so much capital by just getting rid of Brock Lesnar once. Just one Brock Lesnar clears up $9.1 million a year if my reports are accurate. So, that being said, it's been said that Brock is the highest paid wrestler by a long shot. You don't need him in. Forget about my personal beef with him or my personal distaste for him as a talent. If you want to clear up a lot of money, now's the time. Brock Lesnar gotta go, and also there is nothing you're missing out on. All your plans for him at WrestleMania have concluded. You have gotten what you got out of him for the year. You don't need him for the next couple of months. There is no point to keeping Brock Lesnar around right now. I'm not saying WWE is going to do it yet. Is any wrestler being paid below 100K? Yeah, Jimmy, there are plenty that get paid under that. And also, let's not forget that there's the downside guarantee. There are some guys you can just keep at home, pay them the downside guarantee, and not use them anymore. All right, so it's been a while since I checked. Let's update. Let's just see if there's been any more releases. Hopefully not. Unfortunately, there's already been a lot, but... He said, I'm just trying to play the game. Next wrestler up to bat, Bronson Reed. I have no idea who this is. He's got a good look to him, but nah. I'm cutting him. He's got to go. Cameron Grimes. I'm torn, because at one point I think he could be utilized as, again, the newer, fresher talent that you're going to utilize in the future. He's got a good look. I like him as a talent, but at the same time, is he someone who's going to turn things over for you? 50-50. 50-50 on Cameron Grimes. Yeah, I am too. Dale Sanford, we might as well get... Since you guys just want to keep jumping ahead, please stop jumping ahead. We'll get there. Oh, stop. Be cool, guys. So Cameron Grimes, I'm gonna keep him. Okay, you can probably talk me out of it, but I will, as of right now, keep him. Next up, Candice LeRae. She's perpetually seemingly like she's going to be a big part of the NXT Women's Division, but they don't really ever do anything about her, which is sad. However, Candice LeRae is a tremendous talent. Plus, her husband Johnny Gargano, I'm keeping her. Next, Carmella. Now, Carmella, I think they will keep her around because of her connection with Corey Graves. If it were up to me, though, I have to say, and I do like Carmella, but I would release her. If it was up to me, I would release her. I would take in consideration keeping Corey Graves happy, so I might keep her around just because of that. But yeah, I would highly consider just releasing Carmella. Because yeah, I don't know. That's right. Let's talk about it. I like Carmella. I do think she's a talent. I mean, she may not be the best in the ring, but I do think she can be utilized well. I liked her stuff that she had going with R-Truth. That was pretty funny. But I don't think she's irreplaceable. And if you're looking to cut corners as much as possible, and I can't stress enough that talent and labor are usually your any company's highest usually the highest expense. It's just something you got to look at. All right, so next up, Cedric Alexander. Now, Cedric Alexander. Now, here's a tough one because Paul Heyman really liked him and wanted to use him. Vince McMahon has clearly ordered that should not be the case. Personally, I like him, and as I remember, you guys of the live stream, when we had our mock King of the Ring, you guys voted that he should win. So, AJ on voices to release Cedric. Yeah, trying to think like WWE because we're not talking about who we like. We're talking about what we think WWE would do and what WWE should do. What they would do and should do. We're talking about that. Some of you guys. So I'm gonna keep him. They do have him currently in a tag team. I think he is. I do like him as a guy. And look, this would be one of those moments where we're releasing guys. Then this is probably the moment where Paul Heyman could say, "I know you said to bury him, but dude showing up to work. Can we try something here?" And maybe we could get him off the ground. Tremendous talent. So, yeah, Cedric Alexander, and I've also been a fan of, been a fan of him since Ring of Honor. So, Cedric Alexander, I'm keeping. And yes, next one, personal favorite of mine, Cesaro. This is a real tough one. Personal favorite, of course, I'm going to keep him for personal reasons. But should WWE keep him? Would they keep him? And should they? It just needs. So, yeah, Cesaro, Swiss Superman. What do you guys say on Cesaro? Yeah, Cesaro is a weird one. Now, look, I mean, I know a lot of you guys start stating that certain wrestlers are boring, but remember that's booking. That's a symptom of booking more than anything else. When it comes to the wrestler themselves being boring, I don't know how much of that I actually put on the wrestler. I think we put a little too much of that on the wrestler and forget that, they just come out to the ring and they do a match and they leave. Well, that's because that's all booking wants them to do. You have to put some of it on booking and realize that how someone is utilized is a major part of it. You can't keep putting that out there because, I don't know, it seems like when it comes to WWE, I hate pointing this out or being somebody to say it, so I'm just going to be vague enough and see what you want to extrapolate from it. But there is something of a pattern when it comes to who WWE gives the spotlight to and who they don't. And for Vince in particular, yeah. Well, enough of you guys are saying to keep Cesaro, so I say they should keep Cesaro. Will they release Cesaro? Unfortunately, that might be the case, but I do think they like him. So even though they don't use him, he's consistent. They consistently try to find things for him to do. So I don't know that they're going to release him because they are putting him in the mix here and there. They really like his tag team work. Should they keep him? Yes. Should they push him? Sure. I mean, absolutely. But I don't know that they are going to either. Hey, Triple H is probably in on decisions. Next, Cesar Bononi. Another guy. I don't know who that is. So, bye-bye, you go. And again, not trying to be mean, just saying, if I was WWE, what would I do? Who would I release? Next, Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green, brand new here. Brand new to WWE, but definitely well known in wrestling circles. Personally, I missed her when she was blonde. But I like her. I'm keeping her. I think we can still use her, even though she hasn't been used all that well as a star. I think I think there is a future for her in WWE, so I'm definitely keeping Chelsea Green. Next up, Curtis Axel. Look, it's a shame, but Curtis Axel, I gotta say we gotta release him. They haven't been utilizing him. I don't see why they would keep him. I'm actually surprised he hasn't been announced as being released yet. Same thing with Bo Dallas. Dakota Kai definitely keeping. It's not even a question. She's being utilized well. Regardless of how you feel about this heel turn, she's a good talent. I like how she's being used. Keeping Dakota Kai. Next up, Damian Priest. Where are we on the former Punishment Martinez? We already covered that minority. Stop jumping around and stop talking about who you want them to release. It makes no sense to release Charlotte at all. I have to get rid of him. It's a shame. Really? Keep Priest. Yep, I'm keeping Damian Priest as well. Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke is a wrestler that I have been outspoken about not really loving her in-ring work, but I have also said I think she could serve a purpose. With her athleticism and her build, I think she could be used as like the muscle for in the women's division, but they don't utilize her as that. Sadly, gotta release her. I think I would if it was up to me completely and only me, and I'm not trying to think of what WWE would or should do. If I was just thinking for me, I would keep her and utilize her better, but. At this current juncture, if I'm playing WWE, yeah, gotta see her go. All right, Rashawn, not necessarily the point. Oh, but yeah, but that's the thing. There's no point to bring this up. It's not realistic. Keep that in mind. Imagine a world where Joey Janela, Marco Stunt, and Jimmy Havoc are employed, but these guys lost their jobs. Well, that's the world we live in. He said we have cash and debt of $500 million. They clearly have expenses that outweigh their capital. Legends contracts aren't even something that should be discussed at this point in time. Because what is the point? It's like, hey, we're going to pay you less just to keep you from going anywhere else. And with the current climate of the live shows there are, what good are Legends contracts? Like who have I mentioned that a Legend contract would be beneficial towards? All right, so next up, Daniel Bryan. Not even a question. Keep Daniel Bryan. Easy. Next, Danny Burch. You know what? I'm going to name the next couple guys. Danny Burch, Dave Mastiff. I'm getting rid of both of them. Deonna Purrazzo. Where are we stand on Deonna Purrazzo? Personally, I'm keeping. I'm going to start, we're only into D, so I'm going to start moving a little faster. Dexter Lumis. Now, Dexter Lumis, not necessarily making the biggest impact, but I think he's got a good look. I think he has the potential to do something big. So Dexter Lumis, even though he's not being utilized so well, look at the investment for a long term. I think there is reason to keep him, so Dexter Lumis, I am keeping. Next one, you would, Zach, poor Lance Storm, closes wrestling school. Yeah, sad. His contract up this summer. Even so, I would re-sign Daniel Bryan. You can't let Daniel Bryan go. We're getting there, Dawson. Stop jumping ahead. I gotta think. WWE needs bodies for shows. You can't release too many of these people. They have the bodies, okay? And even if I'm releasing all these people, when have you seen most of these guys that I'm talking about on TV? Have I mentioned some people that we've seen on Raw or SmackDown lately? Or yes, but this is not. They're not hurting if I get rid of them. I'm talking about people that most of these people you don't really see all that often. Deonna Purrazzo. Oh, here we go. Is boring going to be the new word that is it going to be the new no word around here? I feel like there aren't any really good to do with Deonna. Deonna, I'm keeping. I think she still has a purpose. This next one's going to be interesting. Dolph Ziggler. Should we keep Dolph Ziggler or not? They don't utilize him very often. Yeah, he's currently in a storyline that just wrapped up. There are reports that he costs a pretty penny, and he's getting up there. Dolph Ziggler. Stay. Go. Andy Ruiz says keep Dolph Ziggler. Actually, I might be wrong. I'm not 100% sure if Edmund James got released. Oh, okay. So perhaps Mickie James and okay, Legend Unknown. Thanks a lot for making me report that. Okay, so I'm going to pull that back. Legend Unknown says he might be wrong about Ember and Mickie James. Well, this is what I mean, guys. Try to only give me information when you know it's a fact. All right, this is okay. Because that is not good, giving me false information. All right. And this is also what I'm talking about when we just start rattling off names. It's not very clear as to what any of you guys mean by these statements. So really, really, that's on you. I'm very not happy about that. Even though hopefully they keep their jobs. Just give me a second. Okay. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Release. Okay, so Dolph Ziggler does talk about going. I would let him go. Dolph has been talking about letting him go. All right, Alexis. I'm just gonna get. Okay, Dolph. Dolph's a tough one. I really don't know where to go with this. I foolishly keep thinking they're gonna push him one day. I know they won't, but still. Okay, so everyone's seeing the majority of you are talking about keeping Dolph. I'm going to keep him on the list. You have to put into effect on releasing this many talents will do to the house show market. There is no house show market! The Pope, don't you understand? There is no house show market. What's it going to do to the house show market? Well, when there is one, we'll talk about it. Okay, so... Okay, so Mickey James and Ember Moon were retracting that. Okay, so thanks for that. News. Well, I don't really trust you right now, so Legends Unknown will wait till I get confirmation on that. All right, Dominic Dijakovic next. Keeping him, big star in NXT, very useful. Next up, Drew Gulak. Now, Drew Gulak, because of his recent work with Daniel Bryan and what we've seen, I would keep him. Again, he's another guy that if you went back a couple of months, I would say he's released, but because of what he's been doing lately, I would keep him on the roster. Next up, Eddie Dennis. I don't know who that is next, so he's definitely gone. Well, here's the odd part. Okay, so Eddie Dennis, he's released. Now here's a tough one. Edge. I know they just brought him back. What does he cost? Is there a future? How much of a future is there in him when he has his injury issues? Just to pull out the suspense, I'm keeping Edge. But I'm not the biggest fan of his, but I do think he has some value. I would keep him. But yeah, it's close. Okay, well, since I got confirmation from Rashawn, since Rusev said that he just tweeted this, thank you all, Rusev out. Okay, fine. All right, so Rusev apparently has just been released, got confirmation again. Checking for Twitter releases. Apparently that's what some people are doing. I am strictly... okay, so anyway, back to Edge. What's weird is I just realized Eric Rowan is actually still on their roster. So is Epico. But anyway, Edge, I would keep. I'm not the biggest fan of Edge's, and I kind of think you got all you needed out of him at this point in time. Like he's gonna have a couple more feuds. He's probably gonna put over Drew McIntyre at some point, but I'll keep him. You know, there's still a few things we could do left. I don't think a lot of things you could do left with a newly returned Edge, but still. Like, conceivably, like, Edge won't be wrestling with the company in 5 years from now. I mean, maybe he is, but, you know, who knows. Anyway, next, Elias. Elias I'm keeping. Elias, Montague says release him, too expensive. That's the other thing. He's expensive. He is expensive. That's the only reason I'm thinking about it. He's expensive. And some of you guys are saying get rid of, and so, it's actually just Montague twice. So I'm keeping Elias. I think we have a lot to do, a lot left to do with him, and I think he can have done. Personally, I want Rusev in NWA because I think his shtick would work better there. But, you know. All right, so going down the list, continuing. We might as well just get them both out of the way. Eric and Ivar, the Viking Raiders, the Viking Raiders, the Viking Experience, the Viking stuff, the War Raiders, the whatever. Both of these guys. Should they stay or should they go? This is another tough one for me. I would keep them just because the tag division definitely needs to have bodies into it. So and they're good enough, but at the same time, if they release them, I don't think they're hurting too much. But Eric and Ivar, I will keep the Viking Raiders. Next up, Fabian Eichner. Fabian Eichner. Division. I don't know if they're crucial, but they are good for the tag team division. Have never been well used in my opinion. Yeah, they haven't been. I think we're just a mess. With us, I only believe he leaves when WWE makes it official. Well, good, Montekia. Like I said, I'm sorry about the past report I was going off of what was said in the comments. So, again, let's go back to taking this with a grain of salt. Okay, should go to NWA. Okay, so, all right. Fabian Eichner, personally, I would release. Next up, let's start moving a little faster. Fandango, gone. Sorry. I like you, buddy, but you're gone. Finn Balor, next. Keep. Not even a question. Easily keep. Next up, Flash Morgan Webster. He goes into the Who category, so that means get out of here, because, yeah, I don't know who that is. Gentleman Jack Gallagher. Now, relegated to 205 Live, limited in usefulness. However, I think he's a big enough character, and I could see them. As I said, I'm dissolving 205 Live. That's one of the first things I'm doing, is just getting rid of it. There's no point to having the show. But that doesn't mean I'm getting rid of the entire division. There are some of these wrestlers I would be bringing on to main programming as to bolster it. So, Gentleman Jack Gallagher is one of them. I'm keeping him. Grand Metalik. Grand Metalik, also another wrestler, I'm keeping as well. I do see a significant value in him as well going forward, as do I with Humberto Carrillo next on the list. I do see good things for Humberto Carrillo, and I think you can utilize him. Ilja Dragunov, nope, gone. Io Shirai, keeping. There are some reports that she's not necessarily happy. I don't blame her, but I would keep her. Isaiah Swerve Scott, you know what? Let's just go ahead and do both. No, let's not. Never mind. Sorry. I got confused for a sec. Isaiah Swerve Scott, keep. Isla Dawn, sorry, I got distracted by Isla Dawn. Keeping her, for sure. Not even a question. Hey, V, what's up? Playing in the sad, unfortunate game of who we would release and who we want. And I'm trying to speed this up to, what about Goldberg? His contract is up. He's done. Goldberg is not with the company. So this talking about Goldberg is weird. But yeah, Isla Dawn I'm definitely keeping. Yeah, okay, I might be a little personal on this one, but whatever. Man, the world is really crazy. I still can't believe some of these guys are very talented losing their job while Marcus not what you know. You got to consider what company they work for. You got to put that into perspective. And they're only unemployed temporarily. Hopefully temporarily. They'll find footing, I hope. Dale, hello, be good to see you. Nobody watching none of this stuff. Nobody watching none of this stuff. I don't know what that means. Goldberg hasn't been released. His contract was up. He was contracted to go until Mania, and that's it. So he's not currently on the roster. Isla Dawn keeping. Ivar we talked about. James Drake. I don't know who that is. He's gone. Jason Jordan's still on the roster. Yeah, that's right. I heard he was going backstage in a producer role, but sadly, gotta let you go, buddy. Next, Jackson Riker. Keeping Jackson Riker. Good look. Good potential for the future. I would keep him. Jeff Hardy, the charismatic enigma himself. Jeff Hardy. Keeping. Jessamine Duke, ooh, now we're venturing a tough one, because when it comes to horsewomen in general, Ronda's already gone. They tease this horsewomen versus horsewomen feud that they never paid off. Jessamine Duke, and I'm going to keep her only under the pretext that I do believe the horsewoman match will happen. I could be wrong, but if we're just going off of her own individual merit, there's really nothing to do, because they haven't done anything with the other two horsewomen, other than Ronda and Shayna Baszler. But I'm going to keep them just because I still think that feud needs to happen. Next up, Jimmy and Jay Uso. The Usos, finally a tag team where both of them are next to each other. The Usos. Keeping the Usos, easy, not even a question. Jinder Mahal, gone. And I would try very hard to erase his title win from the history books while I was at it. I know you can't do that, but I would try. Jinder Mahal, gone. Jinny, who's that? Gone. Joaquin Wilde. Don't know who that is. Out of here. Joe Coffey, very big in the UK, keeping. John Cena. Oh, what do we do with John Cena? Well, the champ is gone. What can I say? Look, I have mentioned that I'm a big John Cena fan, but if I'm not mistaken, he was the second highest paid. And if the Brock Lesnar rules apply, same thing with John Cena. We got everything we got out of him with the Bray thing. He's got to take a break anyway. You can't, after Firefly Funhouse, we can't bring him back. There were rumors that this is his final match. I don't think that's true, but we're not doing anything with him in the next 3 months anyhow. So if that's the case, he's your second paid employee. You're going to cut a lot of revenue. Plus, he's not hurting for cash because he's John Cena. He's got a movie career. Keeping John Cena under the Brock Lesnar rules, as I told you before, I'm going to try to be as objective as I can on this one. From a business standpoint, well, I am a John Cena fan. I'm getting rid of him. Let's see. So go on. We'll report about it when it definitely happens, for sure. Okay. Well, I'm getting a new report here. It says there's a WWE writer who's gone, and they just said that Rusev has been teasing his release, but hasn't made it official yet, so we don't know on that one. So, again, going to only report about it when we know it for sure. Or as best as possible. It's official. Montekia, it doesn't seem official. It seems that he's teasing it, but doesn't seem that it is definitely so. He's unreliable. Hey, a lot of wrestling, pretty much all wrestling news is unreliable. Even today's review, unfortunately, has gone astray. It's in WWE website. I don't know if we can count the WWE website, because as I said, Epico and Primo are still here. All right, but anyway, we'll move on. We'll get back to that in a little bit. Johnny Gargano, keeping, very easy. Jonathan Coachman, I know we're really focusing on wrestlers, and I've been not really kind of skipping over some commentations, but I've been doing some backstage personnel, and Jonathan Coachman, definitely get rid of him. He's gone. Definitely cutting him. Next up, Joseph Connors. I'm releasing him. Casey Catanzaro, it's weird because there were rumors that she was gone, and now she's not, so I'd keep her. Kairi Sane, allegedly she wants to go, so I would let her. That's something else I'm going to take into account. Kalisto, not being utilized all super well, but still see potential in him. Kalisto, I'm keeping. Kane. Sorry, Mr. Mayor. I like you. Kane gotta go. He's not around. It'd be one thing if he was still in the locker room, still helping out, but he's not. He's almost never there. Gotta release him. Cassius Ohno. I really like Chris Hero, but I gotta say, I gotta let Cassius Ohno go, unfortunately. Caden Carter, I'm releasing. Already did that. Kenny Williams, released. Kevin Owens, definitely keeping. Killian Dane, keep. Baron Corbin, I want to release him. I really want to release him. But I don't think WWE should. I don't think you should. I would release him. But yeah. If I were WWE, because WWE has invested a lot in him. That's the only reason why I think WWE shouldn't. I really want to. And if it was up to me alone, of course, I would have fired him years ago. But they have invested a lot in him between Kurt Angle and King of the Ring and everything. So it'd be foolhardy for them not to get a payoff to their investment. Let's move on. Kofi Kingston, keeping, without a shadow of a doubt. Kona Reeves, keep. Kushida, keep. They haven't utilized him all that well in NXT, but he has potential. Keep him. Kyle O'Reilly, same thing with Undisputed Era, keeping. Lacey Evans, I know some people may not be a fan of her ring work, but keeping as well. Lana, if I'm getting rid of Bobby Lashley, I'm getting rid of Lana. And if the rumors are true of Rusev going, then yeah, fine. Let the happy married couple go and work together. Lars Sullivan, gone. Why are you even still here to begin with? Legaro, keep. I don't really know who he is, but I do like the mask, so keep. Lindsay Dorado, keep. Liv Morgan, keep. Mandy Rose, keep. Mansoor, release. Marcel Barth, and I understand I'm also cutting a lot from the UK division, which is a shame, but with the current climate of what's going on, I don't know how the UK is working, so I apologize if I'm getting rid of too many of the UK guys just because I don't know who they are, because I admittedly don't watch the show. But also I think the way the structure works is different too. But I don't know. So you know what? If this guy's a UK guy that I'm just not aware of, you know what? I'll keep him. Marina Shafir, the other horsewoman, same thing with Jessica Duke. Keep. Mark Andrews. He's got to get a cooler name, but he's got an okay look. Keep. Mark Coffey. Keep. Maurice. Because I'm keeping The Miz, I'm going to keep Maurice too. Matt, oh, we already talked about that. Okay, let's just catch up. UK is troubled by, well, isn't everybody worth releasing? Worth releasing. Do we have any actual confirmation on Rusev? Hold on. According to the website I'm looking at. And WWE confirmed about... Okay, Rusev confirmed, Rusev released by WWE. Very, very much a shame. Okay, so where was I? All right, Mercedes Martinez. I'm keeping, even though she may not be the most prominent, I do think she has a lot of experience. Can definitely help out with the locker room. Keep. Mia Yim. Keep. Mickey James. Oh, unfortunately, we found that out. Let's move on. Mojo Rawley. Release. Not even a question. Does not help you. Does not help you. So, release. Buddy Murphy. I don't care what his profile picture says. Buddy Murphy. Keep. Mustafa Ali. Keep. Naomi. Keep. Natalia. Keep. Nia Jax. They just brought her back, and I would release her, but when it comes to The Rock's being in The Rock's favor, keeping Rock happy, keep Nia Jax. Just for that alone. Nina Samuels, release. Noam Dar. I like Noam Dar. I'll keep him. Oni Lorcan. I want to let him go. Montekia, I get it. But yeah, no, Gronkowski I cut already. That was the first person I cut. Nia Jax, I get it, Nia Jax, but keeping The Rock happy, it's kind of part of it. It's connection, so keep. Yeah, the minority, that is the only reason I'm keeping her. Mojo Rawley gone, not even a question. It's easy. They've never utilized them, and they had them around forever. What's the point? Otis, keep. Peyton Royce. Now, I know I said I get rid of Billy Kay, but I do think Peyton Royce has potential as a solo star. However, there is the AEW factor. It'd be nice if she can go over to AEW and work with her husband. I'm torn, but I think they should keep Peyton Royce. Piper Niven, definitely keep. Big fan of Piper Nivens. R-Truth. Now, here's a tough one. Very funny. I think he's a great act, but he is up there in years. Have we squeezed, and his shtick with his title has gone old. Have we gone all that we have? We could keep at R-Truth. While I like him a lot, I'm going to say, unfortunately, I have to release R-Truth. I like R-Truth a lot, and that pains me to say, but I think if you're trying to free things up, you got to free them up. Randy Orton. Keep. Randy Orton has done very good work with Edge. He's got a lot of miles on him, but he's still relatively young. Randy Orton, keep. He's a big star. Rachel Gonzalez, keep. Raul Mendoza, release. While I haven't been doing many backstage people, I will bring up Renee Young. Release. I really like Renee Young a lot, but yeah, I would say let her be with her husband. Release. Rey Mysterio. Now, same thing as all the other Legends contracts that we're talking about. Rey Mysterio. Randy Orton, I think he's a big star. He does cost a lot, but he does do well for the company, so I would keep Randy Orton. I like Randy Orton-ish. Rey Mysterio is a tough one, because Rey Mysterio, he's not quite the merchandise selling machine that he was, but he does sell very well. He ain't cheap, but he ain't super expensive. He ain't super expensive, but he does make some money for you. However, again, where are we going to go with him? What are we going to do with Rey Mysterio? Legends Unknown, yeah. It's kind of what it is. It's on Bleacher. I said, no, I said I confirmed that Rusev is gone. I confirmed it. I confirmed it. Just got to give me a minute since I got burned with 2 before. You got to understand I'm a bit gun shy now. What, are you going to give me a break? Put him in the Hall of Fame and then release him. But remember, though, you're also, if you release Rey, you're also hurting the relationship with Dominic. And Dominic, future. Dominic showed he is actually pretty good in the ring. So, I'm keeping him because I do believe, remember, merchandise is right now one of the few things you can still make money on. Live attendance and house shows, gone. But even though he's not moving the numbers he was, Rey Mysterio mask selling something, and you're like, okay, if I stick him on TV, give him some few things, and start selling some of his masks and his merch, all right, at least that's revenue coming in. So I don't know how much it costs, but as I said, I'm pretty sure he's not Brock Lesnar expensive. So if he has the capability of bringing in revenue or merchandise, that's a huge part of the budget that you have to remember, because it is one of your major lifelines right now. You can still shop WWE.com. So in that case, Rey Mysterio has value. And plus, remember, the future with Dominic too. Now, of course, granted, I'm not saying Dominic's going to quit if his dad gets released, but still, Rey's got more financial value than Brock Lesnar has by more, because of how much he can bring in. And if that's the case, I'm also kind of rethinking John Cena, because John Cena still moves okay. Part of me almost wants to bring John Cena back, take that back. All right, anyway, next, Rhea Ripley. Visa issues, but still keeping Rhea Ripley. Ricochet, keeping Ricochet, not even a question. Riddick Moss, I'll keep. Not the biggest fan, but I'll keep him. Rinku, release. Robert Roode, Bobby Roode. Tough decisions. Here's money, Roode. Yeah, Montekie, as I said, we're trying to play this as if we were WWE. Keep Ricochet. Of course, keep Ricochet. Why keep Ricochet? Again, who has been showing up to Raw? Remember, who have we been seeing on TV? The guys I've been mentioning, a lot of them, we don't see them on TV, or at least, and I know I'm probably guilty of cutting a lot of guys from 205 Live and NXT UK, which I don't watch, just because I don't know who they are. So I'm guilty of that. I apologize. Just going by from the best of my understanding. But I'm keeping Ricochet because Ricochet you see on TV, Andrade you see on TV. These are the guys during this time. These are the guys still showing up to work. Their value for that alone means you probably need to keep them, because they've been saying, if you're not comfortable, stay at home. Stay at home. You don't have to come in. But then there are some people who are voluntarily choosing. So these guys are right now your lifeline because they're willing to come to work. So if you're willing to come to work, part of me is going to, you earn favor with that. And Ricochet is at least a big enough name that you have something there. He's a big enough star for people who are showing up. Because remember, a lot of these people aren't showing up. Bobby Roode could be a massive heel. Now, here's the thing. He's older in age, and I believe because he lives in Canada, we're not going to be seeing him anytime soon. So as much as I like Bobby Roode, gotta see him go because of his theme song. Well, I love the theme song, but yeah, I gotta go. It might be employed to get Ricochet leaked video. Kind of ruined him. I don't think that has anything to do with it. Again, remember, that's the factors I'm looking into. Roderick Strong, Undisputed Era, keep. Roman Reigns. What do you guys say to this? Now, I'm not a fan of his. With Dean Ambrose not around anymore, we don't even have... The Shield thing isn't even important. He's currently not comfortable with wrestling, which again, I understand. I get it. I totally understand it. I'm not going to fault him for that. But he costs you a lot of money. You are not going to be utilizing him anytime soon. But you have a lot of equity built into him. I'll let that marinate for a second. Roman Reigns, what do you want to do? Try to think about it from a business perspective. What WWE should do, not how you feel. He can still have good merchandise numbers. Good point, base up 12. Good point. Might turn heel down the line. That any babyface might turn heel down the line. That's not much of a reason. So keep Roman Reigns because he's the only big that is like a John Cena. I don't think that's true at all, Jimmy. But I yeah, I don't. That's whatever. Guys from the UK, a sad day for WWE. Yeah, yeah. I'm very pleasantly surprised by you guys because I'm doing the same thing. I am keeping Roman Reigns. Absolutely right, based up. His merchandise numbers are really good. That is revenue you're bringing in. I understand he's not comfortable wrestling right now. I don't blame him for that, and he should not. He should not be faulted for it either. So keep him. Hey, according to Dave Meltzer, even more it's coming out. Just let you know. I got a notification on Twitter. We'll see. I'll check in a minute. Roman is really reliable. In what way? I'm gonna keep Roman, believe it or not. Caleb Braxton. Would you release Caleb Braxton? I would. Well, like I said, because of faulty reporting earlier in this stream, I am going to be a little bit hesitant on saying anything. I mean, you guys could read the chat. I'm also making it sound like you guys can't read what you guys are saying. But Kyrie's saying, yeah, I will release. Why would you even question getting Roman? AJ, you're allowed to question anything, so don't get all up on your high horse on this one. But as I said, you're not utilizing him anytime soon. He's not going to appear on TV in the next couple of months. That's why. And I said that. I gave you the reason. Okay? The whole point is we're questioning everybody here, are we not? Isn't that the goal? But you want so don't question me on questioning. But to keep Bruce Pritchard, they will keep Bruce Pritchard. He's a glad-handing yes man. I will get rid of him, but yeah. Okay, Steel Fist Omega, you just named 3 wrestlers. Okay, what are we playing? Do, Marry, Die? Okay, but Dave, come on now. It's okay. He needs to go to New Japan. I would love it if he went to New Japan. Not the point. It's asking tonight. AJ Envoy. Wrong as usual tonight. Roman doesn't. Is that? All right. Anyway, never mind. Okay, so, but let's check the update stream. Okay, so next, Ruby Riott. Where do you guys feel on Ruby Riott? I'm keeping her. I think she still has. I still think she has use. I know that it's hard to tell, but she does have use. Sam Gradwell, I'll keep him just because. Well, I'm going. I think he's a UK guy that I just don't know because I don't watch the show, and he's got a good enough look. Keep him. Samir Singh. Sorry, Bollywood boys, both of you are gone. They are a tag team that I thought was extremely underutilized. I hated that they got stuck with Jinder. I hated that they turned them heel. The Bollywood boys, I also thought should have done better in the Cruiserweight tournament, to be honest. But, yeah, I would get rid of them. So both the Bollywood boys, for me, I have to sadly release. Sarav, another guy who's, I think, is part of a tag team with a guy earlier. I don't remember if I said I would release that guy or not. I think I said I would release him, so I'm releasing this guy too. Sexton Huxley, I like the name. I'm assuming he's a UK guy. I've been pretty brutal to the UK division. I'll keep him. Next up, big one. Here's a big one. Samoa Joe. Stay or go. Harry Flynn, you know I like you, buddy, but I'm going to wait on that one before I say anything. Or the Bollywoods. I'm just looking at the WWE roster according to that, and I know they have guys that are released, but according to that, I'm staying there. Cutting somebody and giving backstage or really doesn't change anything. There's no point in any of this. This is just we're just talking about money. If you keep them, what difference does it make? I'm not saying make them wrestle. I'm just saying who do you keep and who do you don't. Okay, so this is a tough one, right? Samoa Joe's a tough one. Gets injured a lot. That is true. He's up there in years. That is true. I'm keeping Samoa Joe. it is a factor, but yeah, I want to know Dave's opinion on Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe, it depends on which Samoa Joe I get. When I get Punch Kick Machine Samoa Joe, I don't like him. When I get Submission Specialist Joe, Ring of Honor Joe, I like him. When I get Mike Skills, though, he's great. I do really love the character work and the Mike Skills he does, so I like him on that front. But there are times where Samoa Joe is not a guy that I would send in to save a match, as we saw from Backlash main event with Roman Reigns. You're not going to get anything great out of him. But if you stick him with some guy who's like all right and above, then you could get something good. But sometimes Joe just punch kicks his way out of things. Doesn't Joe get injured a lot? He does. I get him. But I think Joe is somebody that you could utilize, even if he's just on the microphone. You could use him. But I keep him. Yeah, no, he did, but I would still keep him. Keep Beth Phoenix or release Beth Phoenix. I don't remember even saying Beth Phoenix, but yeah, sure, release her. Why not? All right, next, Seth Rollins, keep. Shane Thorne, good luck. I don't know who he is, but yeah, let's keep him. Why not? Don't worry, I'll start being meaner to the UK division sooner enough. Shayna Baszler, keep. Not even a question. Sheamus. This might be a toss-up for some of you guys, but he's easily being released for me. I don't have any point in keeping him along. And you know what? I'm going to name three, Sheamus, as well as two others that are going to, it pains me to say, but I'm definitely releasing them. Sheamus, Shelton Benjamin, and Chad Gable. I'm releasing all of them, unfortunately. I really like Chad Gable, and I really like Shelton Benjamin a lot. Shelton Benjamin, they haven't done anything with him. He's older. They're not going to do anything with him. Just release him. Chad Gable, I really, really like Chad Gable. Up-and-coming talent, could be utilized so much better, but he's not going to be. They're not going to do anything better, which is on. Look, I'm just playing the game. Look, I don't know. I'm not, and it's not about whether or not I like any of these wrestlers. It's just, got to keep them. Chad Gable, you could probably talk me into keeping, to be honest, because I feel really bad about that one. But Sheamus and Shelton Benjamin, I would release. Chad Gable, I kind of feel like I need to keep him. I feel bad about it. You know what? I'm reversing my decision. I'm keeping Chad Gable. Forget it. I can't. He's young. It's the future. All that, blah, blah, blah. Shinsuke Nakamura, keep. Big star. Shinsuke Nakamura, keep. Shotzi Blackheart, keep. Sonya Deville. What do you guys think on Sonya Deville? Help me out here. This is kind of tough. Stephanie McMahon, I want to get rid of, but I can't. Sonya Deville, where are we at? Sonya Deville, keep. Okay, you guys convince me. Keep. Maybe keeping Becky? Oh, yeah, of course. Steel Fist, what are you screaming about? Ty, I don't know what it is. Oh, some of you are saying release. Okay, I'll keep Sonya Deville since most of you wanted it. Steve Cutler, I like him. Stay. Tamina. I kept Nia Jax. Tamina, you gotta go. Sorry. Tainara, keep. Tegan Knox, keep. B. Brian Kendrick is still here. Gone. Bray Wyatt, keep. Tino, last name I can't pronounce. Alright, he's got an alright look, keep him. Titus O'Neil, gone. Sorry, I understand that he's the ambassador and, father, he's like father of the year or something like that or whatever. But Titus O'Neil, sorry, gone. Tommaso Ciampa, keep. Tony Storm, keep. Tony Nese, keep. Travis Banks, gone. Trent Seven, keep. Triple H, I wish gone, but let's be realistic here. They're not. We already got to that. We're going in alphabetical order to the list, to the roster list, according to WWE.com. We already did that, the commando. Jeez, Steel Fist. Well, no, you typed it, but whatever. It's crazy he wasn't released today, actually. There's a lot of goodwill that comes with Titus, so that's what I think it's about. Okay, so Triple H, they're gonna keep him. I wouldn't, but whatever. Tucker, keep. Tyler Bate, keep. Tyler Breeze, gone. Easy, not even a question, gone. Tyson T-Bone, I don't know who this guy is, but he's got a lot of tattoos and he looks mean and all that. Keep. Undertaker, where do we go with the Undertaker? keep. I know storyline-wise we're good for a while, but he's a merch seller. He costs a lot, but he does sell merch. Gotta keep him. Vanessa Bourne, keep. Velveteen Dream, easily keep, not even a question. Wesley Blake, you're still here? Gone. Wild Boar, gone. Wolfgang, gone. Xavier Woods, definitely keep. Xia Brookside, keep. Xia Li, gone. Zach Gibson, gone. And finally, Zelina Vega, keep. Alright, and that was it. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on any of these guys' lists? I am reloading the WWE website. I don't think it's super up-to-date because there are definitely people that have been released that are still here. But yeah, just my thoughts. Again, not trying to be personal or anything like that. And there were a lot of wrestlers that I said I would release, even though I really do like them and I'm a fan of theirs. So it is not anything like that. But was just trying to play businessman. That's all. Yeah. So tell me, what are your thoughts on any of these names? What you guys think should or should not have happened? And let's just see. Check one more time. Let's see if there's any breaking news. Doesn't appear to be. Okay, it's Triple H. Yeah, I would like to, but it's not going to happen. All right, Montekia. Montekia again. Finn Balor. He hasn't done the. He has done the Demon King Balor in a while, but remember that's a big merch seller, and what are you talking about, Steel Fist? Byron Saxton. Oh, Byron Saxton has been released? Well, wait. I'm not falling for that. We'll wait to see what happens. Okay, so you keep Finn, but get rid of Triple H. Dave, you funny. I'm keeping Triple H. I didn't say I was releasing Triple H. I would want to, but yeah. And I don't see what's funny about that. Yep, okay, so. Yep. Who really is Byron Saxton? Okay, so this actually went on longer than I thought it was going on. Let's go to be with WWE. Yeah, well, unfortunately that kind of happens. But remember, everything is unprecedented right now. No one has expected this to be the way it is. So it's unfortunate. So let's see what we have. So let's just catch up in the chat real quick. Which release means to the company which you release. Are you... Forget it. Not even bothering. AJ, I already told you, but fine. Forget it. AEW released Jimmy Havoc. Oh, yes. Okay. WWE needs to release or change the contracts to pay per appearance for all part-timers like Brock, John, Edge, and Undertaker. Is Edge a part-timer? I mean, I guess he is, but it seems weird. Anyway, I mean, yeah, but I wonder, affect WWE if NXT didn't exist. Yeah. New Japan Pro Wrestling. Yeah. Is New Japan and Pro Wrestling? Is New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ring of Honor is next day? What are you talking about? This was a good chat. Well, thank you, Rashawn. Very much appreciated. Shane McMahon could run the com. Okay. All right, just one more check to see if there's any more news. Let's see. All right, well, that's going to do it from me. There will be a new video coming out very shortly. So just in about an hour and a half. A little bit... So, yeah, an hour and change. We're going to have a brand new video right here on Dave Knows Wrestling. It's going to be a doozy, but please check right here to make sure you see what's going to happen. Dave, should AEW release this? I think AEW's got to keep it exactly where they are right now, just to maintain things. But anyway, so yeah, go ahead and check. Go ahead and check out. Keep your notifications. Make sure they're working because you will be getting a new video right here very shortly. So be sure to keep it here, and also check out the comic book channel because I may be going on later tonight. Thank you so much for being here, and as always,